Ready to embark on a journey of limitless curiosity? Join us on the Being Curious Show, where we curiously connect teachers and seekers in a safe space, exploring a vast array of topics that spark the flame of curiosity within you. We've created a community for thoughtful discussions where teachers share their wisdom and seekers explore the depths of their curiosity. It's a space where diverse perspectives come together, fostering connection and understanding. Our intention is simple: to ignite your curiosity and create a life that totally lights you up. Hey everybody, it's Kelly, publisher of Edge Magazine and the host of the Being Curious Show. It's been a whirlwind week, right? Everyone's feeling it. So this show is going to be live to so many beautiful places, and then you're going to be able to see the replay later. I'm really excited about this show. And I know you probably get kind of sick and tired of me saying this, but I get to interview and collaborate with amazing people. So I am excited. So this is fun. So last week, as a part of the Whirlwind Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles, the largest holistic health and wellness show on the planet. I said the planet. Yes, I did. And our guest was not only a vendor, she was a highlighted speaker with a packed room. Packed room. I went in there just a couple moments ahead of time to introduce myself and say hello. And there was all of these beings that were just so excited to connect with her. So speaking on an international stage is a big thing. And it just shows the beautiful, beautiful soul that we're going to be having on today's show. Okay. Without further ado, today we are joined by Gina Vance, and she's an author. She's an author, you guys. Oh my gosh, I walked by her booth and she had her books everywhere, and they're just beautiful and bright and sparkly, and it was so welcoming, and I just got giggly. I'm like, I get to talk with this beautiful lady next week, and it just made me super excited. So she is the author of Life is Hard and Then You Fly. Sit with that. Life is hard and then you fly. And the founder of Somatic Mindful Guided Imagery, a transformational method that works gently with the subconscious and the body. Now, I said gently, guys, and I think that's going to be a thread throughout this interview. Gently, trauma and gentle. Beautiful. While most trauma models talk about fight, flight, and freeze, Gina teaches that we actually have 9 instinctive survival responses, and that understanding them is the key to lasting change. Known for making deep healing feel safe, creative, and even enjoyable. You guys, deep healing, enjoyable. You're going to be seeing these beautiful trends throughout our conversation today. She trains practitioners and leaders around the world to guide others into direct experiences of their own power, their own beauty, and capacity to transform pain into purpose. Without further ado, let's welcome Gina to the show.
Thank you, Kelly.
How is that?
Beautiful. Wow. And I'm so delighted to hear that your impression of the booth was to feel welcomed, that it was welcoming. I love that.
It was great. And it was, at Conscious, if people haven't been to Conscious Life Expo, it's everything and nothing all at the same time. Right. And it's at the Hilton LAX, and there's you walk in and there's the music playing in the lobby, and there's vendors everywhere on every floor. There's a rabbit hole, and there's a lot of people that are flight attendants from like international airlines, and they're all in their little outfits, and they're looking around at all of these beautiful souls at Conscious Life Expo.
Carnival of Souls.
Well, and it could have been like their first time in the United States. I thought about that. Right? Right? And they're walking around. I actually talked to the concierge and I was like, do you ever like give a little hint to the people when they're checking in that are not a part of the expo that everything is okay, everybody is safe? It's just a lot of creative people from all over the world coming together and celebrating.
Where anything you want is available to you here.
And you're not kidding. It was everything.
Yeah.
And what's great is that people felt safe.
Mhm.
really being themselves, and safety is gonna be something that we're really talking about today. It's,
Mhm.
like, safe, and, like, if you wanna say, like, freak flags flying, absolutely. If you wanna say, there was everything, and I was an honored to be there, and again, like I said in the intro, your room was packed, and that is awesome,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the impact that you had and people were engaged. I got to run in really fast
Mhm.
and we were like, "Hello, hello, hello." But then you had to go be the leader and the teacher, and I had to, like, run off to my next little thing, and it was just, I love Conscious Life Expo. Um, it is for so many different reasons. I do have to say that I went a couple years ago. I did have to take a year off just because of this. I didn't have to do that this time. I didn't have to leave the hotel. I didn't I felt I navigated the energy well. How did
Mm.
you do?
Yeah, that's been a challenge my whole life is navigating a lot of chaotic energies,
Right.
whether positive or negative, whatever,
Yeah.
just energies. And so each time I go to an event like that, I realize how far I've come and
Yes.
really how effective the tools that I've used have been to support me in maintaining my connection to myself, to my center, to my sources of support no matter what's swirling around me.
That is so important, and I'm gonna say thank you for that because I think that's also how I navigated it this time, and last time I went, I was like, "Well, I'm a publisher of a magazine and this is our world," and I thought I protected myself and whatever, but I came home and I was just I mean, there it was exhausting, and, when I came home, I was exhausted, and I don't think I went very naive, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, it's
Yeah.
just, like, if you're gonna I don't know why this is coming in, but, like, if you're gonna go to a trade show that is about, it's like, the police department, you have to be ready for it, or if you're gonna go to any kind of trade show, you just have to be ready, and, I think we did it this year, and yes, your booth excuse me, your booth was in the middle of chaos. I'm gonna I'm gonna mute this for just a second.
Mhm.
Please,
Mm.
talk about yourself.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah, in the middle of chaos. And what's great about suffering after being in the middle of chaos is that you're shown things inside of you that need your attention so that you can address those things so that you need not suffer when you are in similar chaos again. And which is
Absolutely.
very analogous to our life experience. Most of us are born into some kind of chaos, however it looks, and we learn to manage that, and that's great. It's beautiful. It's ingenious until that stops working for us, and then when we begin to suffer. The exciting thing about it is we can follow the suffering. It'll lead us right to what needs to happen to get free of suffering.
Absolutely, and I apologize, you guys. I just swallowed wrong, and it just hit me, but I think that
Oh, you're muted.
and then I'm muted, so at
Yep.
least I didn't cough on everybody. Okay, you
Mhm.
didn't just write a book, and you didn't just create this beautiful somatic mindful guided imagery course because you showed up and had a perfect life, and, like, that's not what we're here for. Tell us a little bit about, your backstory and, who you are. And I normally ask about what you're curious about, but I know you're curious about a lot of things. So I'm
Mhm.
not worried about that. So please share with our audience a little bit more about yourself.
Mm. Yeah, I am curious about what's going to light you up the most because the thing that brings me the greatest pleasure in life is to see you and really anyone just spread your resplendent wings and fly and soar and enjoy the heck out of yourself in this life. But my backstory is rife with trauma. I had a lot of physical, emotional, spiritual trauma that now I perceive as wild adventures that I feel almost like honored to have gotten to experience. Like, when a Navy SEAL gets to be accepted and gets to complete the program, that's a huge honor. And then when you graduate the Navy SEAL program, of course, life is a lot easier. It's a lot more fun, but you still have all the skills that you developed when you were in the training program. And then you can give back in rich ways. And not everyone needs to be a Navy SEAL, but you still have so many tools and skills, and you've accrued wisdom so that you are available to support many on their paths of discovery, exploration, and healing that ultimately can lead to them spreading their wings and soaring free.
Well, and I love how you say that, because I love the pain, discovery, recovery, giving back, and I love that that's how you framed it. And the wild adventures. I'm using that. I'm taking that, and I'm gonna use that, because
Mhm.
it just frames it. I mean, so many people have life experiences happen to them, and then they just sit with it, and then they marinate with it, and then it becomes their identity,
Mhm.
and it becomes like their like who they are,
Yeah.
when we can be like, okay, like you said, the Navy SEAL is actually a really, really, because what is it, Buds Week that they have to go through to,
Oh,
I might
yes.
be saying it wrong, but,
Mhm.
like, that's like, right? I don't know. Nope.
Yeah, a lot don't make it, and some actually die, physically die.
Right. And that happens to us too,
Absolutely.
right? We've had our own Buds Week,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then to turn that wild adventure
Mhm.
into a, "Hey, how can I support you? I
Mhm.
see you.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it. My
But
story
there's
might be a little different, but I get it." And then how do we I don't get, you're kinda showing me, like, how do we pull somebody out of a rabbit hole? But it's not a pull, it's an invitation.
It really is, and it's kind of a reckoning. So when I'm sitting with you and you've lived some really hard things, really painful things, really terrifying things, I'm really keeping my focus on the center of you, your soul, and just feeling so impressed with what you experienced and how you got through it, and that you remained. You didn't leave. You didn't take yourself out. You found a way. And it's so impressive. It's amazing. And so when I'm sitting with you, no matter what you've lived, no matter how horrific or mundane according to your perception, all of it is truly heroic that you're here. And I'm curious about that. I'm curious about how did you get yourself through that, and what were the ingenious things that you accessed within you to manage that until you could be free of it. So that's why it's never a sad kind of work for me. It's
Right.
always an
Mhm.
amazing, because I know that you're not in it anymore, even if unconsciously your parts don't know that you're not still in it. I can see that you're not in it anymore. You are free now. And all it really needs to happen is for you to release some things that are being broadcast that you're not free, and to rescue some of your parts that are still living in those scary, painful experiences as if they're happening now.
No, where I'm going with it, and it's very timely, is, I see you working with, like, Epstein survivors, and it's
Yeah,
not just Epstein, but I mean, and that's why you saw me pause, because I was like, "Do I go there?" And then I was like, "Yeah, I will."
already
And
been there.
okay, that's why you saw
Yeah,
me pause, but I was like, "Yes, I feel that this is very, part of this discussion," right?
it is, and it only recently has become, because the world really wasn't ready, to hear that. It was too much. It's like, "Oh, come on. That's crazy. That's cuckoo." Like all the conspiracy things. Even though on the buses in our town here near San Francisco, it talks about child trafficking, but it's like an abstract concept, right, that's out there. Um, but it's been happening forever. And I've been working with people that they really had nowhere to go because no one would believe them. It was too way out there. But one thing I want to really bring in is that even if your difficult experiences haven't been that horrifically extreme, they're still extreme enough for your journey, and the same things that the most egregious trauma experiencers, the same things that heal them you can use to heal yourself. So that's one of the gifts of the souls that experienced those kinds of things. Their gift to us is, look, they're still alive, those that are, and they've managed to do life, however difficult, and so can we.
Well, and we also process trauma in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have a Navy SEAL go through Buds Week
Mm-hmm.
and come out with the same type of trauma as someone that had X done, and they're both responses. They're
Yeah.
both experiences, and it's also what your soul came to learn. Well, that's a whole other that's a whole other discussion. I love the wild adventure. I can't tell you enough how incredibly powerful that mindset is.
Mm.
And that in giving that is freedom. That is powerful. Like, I'm, like, sitting with this going, "Oh," because wild adventures are expansive, and they're scary, and but then you can come back and you're like, "I did it."
Mm-hmm. And kind of like a fish story. Oh my gosh, it was so hard, and I thought that fish was going to pull me in, and but you're telling it as an adventure because you know that it's in the past, that it's a thing you lived, you survived, you triumphed in some particular way, whether you caught the fish or it broke the line, or the shark, only bit off your arm, but didn't take you out completely. So once it is no longer active in your system, then it gets to be a tale of adventure that we all love to hear and can learn from. And whenever we're hearing a story, we're putting a part of ourselves in that story. So we're having a lived experience of leaving the unfamiliar, experiencing dangerous threat, and surviving it, and even moving into a sense of triumph, right? The classic hero's journey that's in every movie and really is an unconscious thread that runs through all of our lives.
It was interesting at Conscious Life, we were at our booth, and we started to talk about our birth stories. So you had all these women around,
Mm,
and we had, I think there was a pregnant lady that was, like, waiting for number 1, and poor thing. And then we had, some wise grandmothers, and then we had everybody in between, and we just started sharing our birth stories, and someone was, um, induced, and then it was, like, 72 hours of this, this, and this, and then there was me, who my daughter shot out of me in 19 minutes, and they didn't even know, like, so it was like all of these beautiful, but it was like the fish story. We were like, and then I did this, and then I did this, but then it was like this unification where we all came together as women and as souls, and we were like, and we got through it. And we
mhm,
have beautiful babies
mm,
who mine are now teenagers, and it's like, and but it was, we were able to go back and really share, and it was wisdom, and it wasn't in this fight or flight, and it didn't have that charge to it, but
yes.
it just had that wisdom, and that it was a wild adventure. Like, all of them were wild, no matter what it was, but it was fascinating, and I wanted to bring up birth stories to you.
Mhm. Well, a couple of things come to mind with that. And one is that what I've found is that something that needs to be healed, it will not be healed until it's honored. It needs to be honored.
Ooh.
That is a critical part of the completion of whatever is unfinished, right? So when you're sharing your stories, you're honoring the experience that you lived. You're honoring what it was like. You're honoring it. And you're honoring that part of you that experienced that, right? That gave birth in 19 minutes and whatever chaos ensued because people weren't ready for that or whatever happened.
Oh, they weren't.
Mhm. Mhm. And then, always dealing with other people's reactions is a significant part of our experience. And also, our birth stories, when you first started talking, I wasn't sure if you meant you giving birth or you being born.
Then there's
because
that.
yeah, many of my clients will spontaneously return either to the womb or to their birth experience to now be there for as the adult for that precious infant and changing the infant's experience of isolation or whatever happened, whatever the infant perceived, and holding them in their arms to their chest, usually tears streaming down because of the love and just perceiving the perfection of that sacred little being. So birth is super significant, and I imagine it's why it's so important to celebrate birthdays.
Well, absolutely, and you having so I was born, I think 6 weeks early. I was 4 pounds, 4 ounces, so this was back in '75, and my mom was young, and I wasn't a boy. We'll
Mhm.
go there for a second, but we
Yeah,
I don't even have to go there for you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Firstborn, yeah,
Mhm,
right? And I know it was stressful for my mom. I know it was stressful for my dad and everybody in the room, and to be able to go back to that little 4 pound, 4 ounce little one that shot out and just be like, "We got you.
mhm,
You're beautiful just the way you are, and it's okay that you don't have a penis. You're a girl,
mhm,
and you're gonna be amazing."
mhm,
And then giving my mom love because I know my mom was probably scared because, like,
mhm.
she's 21, newly married, and
Yeah,
has this little one that they rush off into the NICU, and I'm jaundice and all that kinda stuff, so
yeah.
I really I love that to be able to go back to, the healing of your own birth because there's this sacredness between the mother and baby during that because it's a it's a hard day for everybody, right? And
Yeah.
then to go back as a mother and, um, it was interesting, I was not gonna have my mom in the delivery room. I don't know why, but I wasn't going to. But my midwife came in and was like, "There's there's someone that looks like you in the waiting room, and she's really, really excited." And I was like, "Bring her in." Like, I was just, in the throes of it.
Yeah.
And I think it was really healing for my mom to watch her daughter give birth. Thank you for giving me that, and today's not about me, but I just wanna say that, like,
It is about
I
you.
well, I love your tools. I love your book. I love what you're doing, and these are really beautiful,
Yeah.
not fight, flight, freeze ways, but just, like, these beautiful invitations to go back and rediscover the beauty in the wild adventures of our lives.
Mhm.
How's
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
I just saw all the thought bubbles go over your head.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. You know, I didn't put this in the book, but I do teach it to my students that I discovered there are 4 universal fears. And it's what keeps people from doing deep inner work. And one is that I will feel, and I'm afraid that if I start feeling, I'll never stop.
Yeah.
The other is I will change. And when I change, I will lose things, maybe people, maybe my physical things. I might lose things if I change,
Or all of the above.
right? The other one is I will know the truth of who I am. And people are afraid of that because we've been brainwashed to, in a lot of different ways that we're bad, we're defective, we're not enough, whatever it is that we're trying to outrun. And you don't know until you take the risk to actually have that direct experience that the deeper you go, the more beauty you find, the more preciousness, the more lovableness, the more perfection. But that's something that, it's not going to work as an abstract concept that I tell you this is truth. It's your felt experience that changes your mind about that. So it takes a lot of courage for anybody to do deep inner work. And that's part of why SMGI presents so gently, so softly, with so much choice and agency. You don't have to, you can. And so then people naturally will. The fourth universal fear is I will cease to exist. I will be annihilated. And in a way that's true because it's like a shamanic death, that you perceived yourself to be will fall away and you will be reborn as a new creature. You will identify in different ways. But our nature programming wants to survive and avoid death at all costs. It's very general, right? Any death is all death, and it is anathema. So just knowing that those are programs that we all carry, we can honor them, we can welcome them into the room and work with them. And so a person doesn't have to do anything that they don't feel ready, willing, or able to do.
Why are people so scared to know their own truth?
Oh gosh, eons of brainwashing and life threat. I mean, we could just take a simple one, witch burnings.
Sure.
Right? My truth tells me that this herb is helpful for this thing. Right? Pretty simple.
Right.
And and then the naivete, right? The innocence. Oh, well, there's no danger in doing good and helping, right? This is a common thing with healers.
Right.
Oh, I'm just here to help and do good. But they don't, we have learned, especially unconsciously, how threatening that is to the status quo. And so because we really are disrupting the status quo.
Right.
And so some will not take well to that. Well, plenty of people in the healing world are irritated by the work that I do and the way that I do it, because it breaks a lot of, it just kind of goes beneath a lot of rules that are in place. And and one example is the doctor-patient model and shamanism. And I'm not against doctor and patient relationships. There's a place for everything, and everything has a benefit. But traditional shamanism is the doctor-patient relationship. I am the one that will do the things to make you better.
Right.
And so if someone's really attached to that, then it creates a lot of discomfort in them if they're called really to be the facilitator instead of the operator, the one that is creating the thing. And so many healing practices really, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, replay that model. And it can bring a sense of safety. Like, I've learned this thing, and here's what we do to get you to the good result. But ultimately, it creates fear and unease because there's so much responsibility on the practitioner.
Right.
And I'll never forget when I crossed that threshold of understanding, oh, the responsibility isn't mine to know which technique to offer you to help you get where you want to go. That you have an inner wisdom that knows exactly the journey you need to take, in what way, in what order, so that you can create what you desire.
Right.
My job is just to make it easy for you to connect to that. And then it's just, I cannot describe to you the sense of ease and relief that young woman that I was, that was really driven by perfectionism and causing no harm, that just changed everything. And so that I can just remember the moment I crossed that threshold. And then this is something that I endeavor to support my students in, and they get there when they get there, because, we've all been to school, some version of it. And we've all learned that if we make a mistake, we get in trouble. Right? Or we've had families. We've all learned that if we make a mistake, according to someone, we get in trouble. So that's a very protective program inside of us. And it means well. It wants us to stay safe and stay connected to love. So really, at the base of everything is love. There's no pathology.
And I guess my question is, are we making mistakes or are they learnings? Right?
It's all how you look at it.
It's all now, if the stove is on and you take your hand and you put it on the stove and you burn yourself, yeah, I don't know if that's a mistake or that's just being dumb or whatever. But I really have tried to reframe in the last couple of years when something happens that it's not a mistake. And I'm married to a beautiful man that is very hard on himself, and he just and he's an artist, so he's really soft-hearted. Right. Hi, Steve. And if it's not perfect, he takes it as like if he doesn't get an A, everything else is just a mistake or it's wrong. And I know that's the programming of what he had growing up. And I mean, I'll even introduce, well, maybe there's a different perspective, or maybe I just don't like this like you do. Or, I mean, The other day
Yeah,
he burned toast and I was like, "Dude, well, it's a little crispy, don't worry about it." And he just,
yeah.
like, gets all in his head, and I think a lot of that is the programming that you've been talking about.
Based on actual experiences, right? Based on actual experiences. So there are really good reasons that he reacts and responds that way. And as loving a space that you create for him, as encouraging and accepting as you are, the only way that that's really going to shift significantly for him is for him to clear the clutter that tells him that it's not okay. That's part of the annihilate response. One of the 9 survival response is perfectionism, right? We got to make it stop or keep it from happening. So all mistakes are unacceptable. It's like the sense is like choosing between the red wire and the green wire. If I choose the wrong one, everything will be annihilated.
Right.
So there's all this internal pressure about not getting it wrong. I must get it right. And I must keep the bad thing or the wrong thing or the mistake from happening.
Right.
Ultimately, that can shift into, that experiment didn't turn out how I would have liked it to. I'm going to do this experiment a different way and see if I can get a different outcome, right? So that's what mistakes really are. But in our world, in our culture, in our families, with our clergy and school, in our relationships, mistakes are perceived as crimes, right? And punishable by usually worse than death, by withdrawal of love
Mhm.
or something like that.
Right.
So he's running the annihilate response, right? Which is totally natural based on what he lived and what he learned is like, oh, I can't let that happen because, and being a sensitive artist soul, right? When the bad thing happens, it's so horrific for him. And if he had siblings, their experience of the same thing would be different, of course, depending on
Right.
how they're wired. So I ran that response very mightily for many, many years, and it burns up a lot of energy.
It does.
Yeah.
He like, when we're putting together the magazine, he a lot of times doesn't show me to the very end.
Mm.
And I try to be very I mean, we're very aligned, so it's and he's beautiful, like, he's a beautiful artist, but if I even have, like, "Well, did you think about this?" Or and I try to reframe it because I know how he takes any sort of feedback,
Right.
and
Hmm.
it's an interesting dynamic because it's like, it's our magazine and our business, but it's like, I don't so it's this weird this it's a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
It is. Well, this is a beautiful segue into what are the 9 survival responses because 'cause you've kinda mentioned them a little bit, but I think it's time to just lay them all out.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, most people have heard of fight or flight. And many people in the healing community or wellness community have heard of fight, flight, freeze. And then as new ones were discovered, they were squeezed into a word that started with F, and that just kind of raised a flag for me. And I thought, okay, wait a minute, why do they all have to start with F? And well, how would you pronounce? How would you say them in French or Swahili, right? And so I just checked in and I asked, okay, exactly how many of these survival responses are there, and what are they? And so I got it. It just came through right away. And um, the first 3 are avoid, submit, surrender. And I would posit that those are the ones that we run the most,
Right.
right? We avoid trouble, we avoid pain, danger. We had to submit as children, and we had to surrender many things as children. And so those are patterns that we repeat. So avoid, submit, surrender, fight, flight, freeze. And that could be more accurately described as resist, because it's not always about punching, when you're fighting.
Right.
Um, Fight, flight, freeze, or it's not always about running, but it's really just about leaving, whether you do it just with your energy and attention or physically.
Right.
And freeze would be more accurately described as arrest. So you just like stop what you're doing, and then you kind of listen and assess, right? Is that a creaky house or is there an intruder? If the gazelle's grazing and they stop, they assess, is there danger nearby or can I go back to grazing? So, there are mild forms of all these and extreme forms. So like the extreme form of freeze is just fainting.
Okay.
So avoid, submit, surrender, fight, flight, freeze, right? We're not going to fight against what's commonly understood and popularized. And then attach, annihilate, repeat, right? So attach is just, babies, they have that strong grip, right? If mommy has to run, if you've ever experienced a baby, they can hold on to your hair and you can run like hell, and that baby's still going to be there, right? With just holding on to your hair. And of course, in the animal world, we see a lot of evidence of this when the bear is running and the cub is on its back, or the monkeys, or so on. And so attach is natural. And then, there's a lot of talk about healthy attachment and so on in the therapy world. Annihilate is that where it's really healthy and helpful is a snake in mid-strike and you just cut its head off with your shovel, right?
Yeah.
That helps you, just like you are annihilating the danger. It's done. And then when it's related to trauma, it's that part that drives us. It's like, we have to be perfect. We can't make mistakes. We can't allow mistakes. If we make a mistake, it's horrific. If I get a B+ instead of an A, I sob for days. When I was a lighting engineer, before I went into this work, they used to make fun of me because there were never mistakes on my complex plans, the blueprints. And I thought they were just being goofy until I had employees that were drawing the plans for me, and they kept making mistakes. And I'm like, what? And I realized, can you say human? But I wasn't allowed to be human, right? But that was by my own reckoning, right? And one of the great things that we can come to is that no matter what's been done to us, and no matter who did it, in the end, it's not really their fault, because it's how I internalized it and how I drove myself, right? I drove myself like, not okay, got to do this, can't do that. So the good news about that is that I have the power to change that.
Right.
So yeah, those are and the last survival response, number 9, is my favorite: repeat. So like in the psychotherapy world, they do talk about compulsive repetition, but it's more perceived as a pathology, like you're compulsively repeating the themes that you've lived. And from the lens, or through the lens, of SMGI, we perceive that as something to celebrate, because of course you married your mom. You are so working your theme. When you were a little kid and you were trapped, you just had to make it work the best you could. And now that you're an adult with resources within you and outside and around you, you get to put a new ending on that theme. And every time that theme shows up, you get to move into a greater sense of triumph and empowerment, because you're putting a new ending on it. And the theme keeps replaying, but each time it does, you recognize how far you've come. You're not that same trapped victim that you were. And now you have access to holding it differently, to saying yes, to saying no, that you didn't have access to before. So the repeat response is really what brings many people into this kind of work, doing SMGI, is because I've tried all the things and this still keeps happening in my life, this pattern, this habit, or this relationship theme, or people keep treating me this way. And so it's to be celebrated. You are so working your theme, and you can put a new, better ending on it. The trick is, it'll only work if you do it in your inner world.
Right.
Because that's where it's really coming from.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So March 21st, you have a new SMGI training course kicking off. Tell us more about that. You just segued it perfectly. You teed that up so beautifully that I'm like, I was going to ask you like, hey, let's talk about the book. I'm like, nope, we're going to talk about your training course starting March 21st. Let's go for it. It was beautiful.
Oh, you're so fun to volley with, because I wasn't even planning on teeing anything up for.
I know. This is why I'm just like, I just do all my preparation and then I come prepared, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. So for about 6 years now, I have been teaching those that are interested how to facilitate others with the steps that are in this protocol that I developed, called Somatic Mindful Guided Imagery, or SMGI for short. And it's a super simple protocol, but in the training, which lasts 6 months, we meet once a week for 27 times. Then I'm sharing the rationale behind why we do what we do, and helping them learn the language of the subconscious, which helps make it easier for people to access their own inner wisdom and be drawn forth on their own journeys of discovery, exploration, and healing. And so they get to practice a lot with their classmates, the various steps of the protocol, until by the end of our 6 months together, they're doing the entire protocol with each other, and they can offer it to anyone in their sphere of influence. It doesn't, and it's not like psychotherapy where you're not allowed to work with friends or family or relatives. It's a very safe protocol. And again, you are not the authority with the person you're guiding. You are their support, reminding them of what's possible and offering them prompts to help them work with whatever's coming into their awareness.
You're showing me a magical sandbox. That you create this magical, safe sandbox for people to play in. And I think when you think of I'm a picture girl, and sandboxes are always like fun. And you're just like showing me this beautiful, and the sand's beautiful, and there's little water buckets over there, and there's all these little tools, and you're like, come on in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just I don't know why you're showing me a sandbox, and
I
it's
love
interesting. My coughing is popping up in the weirdest times of our conversation, but they're really powerful parts of our conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, those are welcome. You know, all of you is welcome. And there's a reason that those coughs are coming up just at certain points. I never thought of the sandbox analogy before, but as a trauma survivor, I can appreciate all the beautiful, sparkly sand and the fun objects in there to play with and build. But I'm also aware that you might run into some cat poop in there.
Yeah, you might.
Right. And you know what? We can dispatch it easily. We don't have to be afraid of it. Like in the old days when I was really reverberating from my trauma, it's like, oh, you could get that disease from touching cat poop. Ah. There was danger everywhere.
Right.
And what's really fun is when I'm out and about with my partner, I'll say, see that over there? And he's like, oh, how do you do that? I say, trauma. Because one of the great things about living a lot of trauma is that your perception gets expanded and you can actually perceive more than people who haven't lived as much trauma. But the good news is that the perceiving can become a point of interest and curiosity rather than a point of stress and threat like it always was in the past.
Well, it's like you remove the energetic charge to
Exactly.
it,
Yeah.
and what you're the cat poop in the sandbox, you just showed me, you're like, "Oh, you just take the little shovel and you flick it out." I mean, you were just like, "Okay." Like, it's and when you're in the sandbox, you might get dirty, but guess what? You can stand up and you can just shake it out, or you can get out, you leave the sandbox and go take a shower and come back. I mean, there's just, like, all of these beautiful different things with it. And it is so the training starts March 21st, and it
Yeah.
is a weekly online for 6 months. So
Yeah.
you really can get to know the participants, and I can just see you as this, I don't know, you're gonna you're putting in beautiful, beautiful, like, beach sand. Like, oh, now what you're showing me is we have black sand, like Hawaiian black sand, and then we have
Mm.
white sand, and then, like, so there's all these different, like, you're making the best sandbox I've ever seen in my life for these beautiful people. Like, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And
okay, keep going.
I've facilitated enough groups, and I've been a participant in a lot of groups.
Right.
And I'm so grateful to the worst practitioners that I experienced when I was
Oh.
on my journey to heal, because I learned so much so clearly. Like the contrast, it's like, oh, never do that. And with a heightened sensitivity because of the reverberation of trauma, it's like, oh, wow, an X in the forehead. I'm not forgetting that. So in our groups, our training groups, part of what I model is how to facilitate groups in a safe and respectful way, because groups can have things come up, which isn't necessarily bad or wrong, challenges that can be addressed, and it can be a great learning experience for all. But this isn't about doing hard things. You know,
Right.
life is, you've already had enough of that in life. This is about having fun and ease now. And so I'm going to hold the container so that everyone's respectful and everyone, as much as they're willing to receive it, gets all the support that they need from each other and also from me. So part of my nature is to leave no stone unturned.
Right.
If you're in, right? If you want to go the distance, I
Right.
will do everything that I can to support you. And then if, you know, you're not into it, great. I'll step back.
You
Um,
meet people where they're at.
yeah. And where they're at is awesome. And it all makes sense. Even if it doesn't make sense to them right now, it
Right.
will eventually.
So this is a beautiful platform and space and time. Who would you want to give an invitation to join you?
Hmm. People that feel a nudge in their souls. You know,
Yeah.
this is a great thing. Over the years, I asked every person who came to work with me privately, how'd you hear about me and what made you choose me? And the answer was always some version of their soul told them
Mm.
this is right. And it's the same with the students. So some that come are just working a so-called regular job and have never done anything in the healing and wellness world, but they would like to segue into that. Many are already working in some kind of wellness, whether they're a talk therapist, a licensed marriage and family therapist, psychologist, chiropractor, acupuncturist, massage therapist, psychic medium, people that already have a clientele that they're serving, and they want to offer something beside that, alongside of that, or they want to incorporate some tools that will make it easier for them to support their clients and easier for their clients to get the results that they're wanting to get. So creating ease and getting the results. I'm a triple Taurus, super practical in nature,
Right.
and I'm really clear that my mission is to simplify the complex and esoteric in practical, usable ways that are doable and get people results. So there are a lot of beautiful things to do out there. But if they're not going to help you get the result, then we just leave those aside and you can go, you know, enjoy those. But right here, right now, we're going to support you with what's most effective to help you create what you want to create, grow what you want to grow, diminish what you want to diminish, change what you want to change.
It's funny you're showing me, and I saw this 2 days ago. Mary Poppins carpet bag.
Ah,
That's what
love
you offer, like, right? And for
mm.
some people, you might be like, "Here's a pen. There you go. Here you go." And then there's the big lamp coming out, and it's this beautiful I'm a picture girl, I promise you, like, that sandboxes and Mary Poppins carpet bag, here we go.
Mhm,
But and it's and sometimes the bag is this big, it's like a little clutch where you're like, "Ooh," and then other times it's like this big backpack, but you're just offering and you have so much, experience and tools in your toolbox that you're able to really hold space for people, and I get that's why you're able to meet people where they're at, is because you're not like, "Step A is this, and then B, and then D, and, like, we have to do this." I know that's probably your old world,
mhm.
but
Oh,
now
that's
you're in and you
yeah.
wanna hang out at B for a while, you go.
Mhm,
You just go hang out there, and you just zhuzh it up a little bit, and we'll go over here, and if you wanna come join us, great. If not, here's a cup of tea, and you just rock it out there.
mhm. Yeah, and I do remember when my old way of manifesting stopped working. You know,
Mm.
I was strong-minded, put my head down, here, there's the steps, go through the steps, create the thing. And I was good at that. And then it stopped working. So I had to learn the whole new way that involved a lot of receptivity and healing. And because I was so highly defended, highly analytical, and highly traumatized, that I'm so grateful for that because that helped me that oriented me to the tools and how to use them to mitigate resistance so that people could be open and receptive to their own beauty and power so that they could change what they want to change. So that was that version of me that was hard as a rock and nobody could help. I just appreciate her so much. First of all, she had really good reasons for being that way. And second of all, because of her and because no one could help her, she helped me learn, well, how can a person like that be helped? And so it's like the hardest nut to nuts to crack, we can help with this protocol. And then the people that aren't so hard, they easily use the protocol. And in fact, over the years, I don't get people like this very often, but over the years, I've got some people that are just super open, super like, yeah, whatever you say. Okay, done. And they showed me, it's like, wow, it can be that easy. So, and I want to be more like that.
Yeah.
So I've learned so much from my clients over the years, what's possible. I had a lot of beliefs about what couldn't happen, what wasn't possible. We'll just do our best. Maybe you'll get a little relief. But my clients showed me, oh no, you can create any miracle that you desire. One of the things that I learned is that when you lob a prayer, when you ask for help for something to change, you will be shown what's in the way.
Yeah.
And that's a gift. It's not a punishment. It's showing you, go here. This is what needs your attention so that you can manifest that thing that you want to create. And yet nobody has taught us how to follow the pain, follow the fear, follow the feelings to the treasure, to the remedy that they're connected to. And over the years, when I would hear myself telling private clients, these things aren't difficult, they're just not widely known. And every time I said that, I realized the onus was on me to make them more widely known. So when I finished the book last year, I felt such relief, like I'd kept a promise, like, okay, it's out there now. It can become as widely known as it needs to be. And, and it's not just one client at a time or one cohort of students at a time.
Well, you just did it again. I was just about to ask you about your book, Life is Hard and Then You Fly, How Your 9 Instinctive Responses Can Turn Pain into Purpose Through the Revolutionary Healing Power of SMGI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have a book on you by the chance? Do you have the cover?
I do not, but it's a
cool.
cool.
Oh my gosh. It's a cool, really cool.
Yeah.
You guys, like her booth was all her book. And it was so cool because it's this vibrant yellow and these beautiful wings. And it's so, I can tell it was done with thoughtfulness. I mean, if you tell me you did it with like AI in like 5 seconds, I mean, good for you. Don't tell me. It was so well done and so well crafted and gorgeous.
Thank you. And thank you to my spirit guides, my spirit guidance, because, you fuss and strain over the elements, and then in a moment, right, it drops in.
Yeah.
So I had some other boring title, and other people said, oh no, it needs to be a white cover. And so, but for years,
the golden is beautiful.
I knew it was
golden,
yellowish. Yeah. And then, a lot of, I trained with so many wonderful people, each from whom I got a nugget, a piece of treasure that combined together created this protocol. But I was also spirit taught, right? Yep. So there were certain things that spirit just showed me, and thank goodness for my clients, because it's working with a client, spirit showed me, oh, this will be helpful. Do this. Oh, okay. And it wasn't even really until I started teaching that I understood why we do what we do. It was just like, okay, this works, so we're going to do it.
Right.
And as the years go by, I understand more and more. Oh, I see why we do it that way. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. High five, everybody. Help me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the book, I've been so surprised at the reports from people that are using it. And I say using it.
Oh, that's great. Like, you don't want to just hear reading it, but when they're like using it, that's fantastic.
I had no idea. Many people tell me that they just open it up to a random page and use it as an oracle, and they read, something that just really hit the spot that day. And some people say, oh, I'm reading 10 pages a day, or I'm reading 20 pages a day. And a few people, especially some of my students that are practitioners of this work, they just read it from cover to cover. For most people, it's a slower read because it's intentionally designed to trigger things.
Yeah.
Right? So that you can honor your own experience. But here's what's more important. Besides honoring what you've lived, knowing that it's possible to heal it, to resolve it, to be free with it, to be free, not really of it, but with it, to be free. Right. And so, I'm reminded of I don't know if you've heard of Roger Bannister, but he was some guy from England he was the first guy to break the 4-minute mile. Before
Oh,
that, it couldn't be done, right?
right,
Nobody can run faster than 4 minutes in a mile.
right.
But after he did it, then all these people started doing it, right? So there's a lot of power just to knowing what's possible, what you can do. And then a lot of your inner wisdom, your subconscious will just do it. Right. So just reading the book or, reading passages, however you use the book, it's going to let you know what's possible for you. And the beautiful thing is when I started doing this 25 years ago, the energy was heavier and more sticky and it was more of a slog. And now I've seen the energy just transform. Whatever's happening in the current consciousness, I've seen that it's easier for people to get more done more quickly, more easily than ever before.
Right.
So this isn't theory. It's not abstract concept. This is actually what's possible. I've done it. These people whose stories I'm sharing with you in the book have done it, and you can do it too.
It's funny you showed me about the 4-minute mile, and then I went into the Winter Olympics and the figure skaters and the axles, and I guess they were doing quads this year. And could you imagine the first time someone did the first rotation, and they're like, "Yay, we did this!" And then they did a double, and then they did a triple, and then now, I mean, anything's possible. Someone's gonna do 5 rotations sometime soon. I mean, it's going to happen. It
Yeah.
might take a little bit more oomph to it, maybe a little bit more creativity, but it's gonna happen. A 4-minute mile, that's fast,
And it depends on the desire.
right?
That's really what
Ooh,
makes it happen, right? So someone is inspired, it's like, "Oh, can I do that again? Can I do a quad again? Oh, wow,
yep,
I can do it. Oh, could I do a quint, a
right.
quintuple, whatever they call it, right? So, but that's their desire that drives them. And so all of us, when we're working with private clients, the very first thing we help them do is access the desire that lives in their body beneath their programming and conditioning,
Yeah.
because that sets their intent and that's the fuel that drives their results, and it organizes the journeys that they're going to spontaneously experience. So desire is critical, and it's not going to work very well if it's somebody else's desire, right? Your guru, your teacher, your loved one says, "Oh, you should blah blah blah," and it makes sense. Yeah, I probably should. Oh, okay, I want to do that. Not as powerful and effective as connecting to your own authentic, organic desire.
Absolutely. It's just powerful.
Yeah. I love how right before you start to cough, it sounds like you're crying. And it's like that emotion that comes up that's so welcome. That's something that happens in sessions a lot. People apologize for the tears that just spontaneously come. And part of our job as practitioners is to welcome them.
You guys, I haven't been coughing all day. Like, I'm telling you. I'm on the tail end of something, but and it's strategically happening during this conversation. You can't make this up. Like, you start talking about something and I'm just like, "Oh, here it comes." And then I start like, "Oh my gosh, I'm living what you're embodying and bringing to the world." Like, you could consider this a great interview and not a great interview, a sharing a time, but if you want to know how powerful of the work that you're doing and the frequency that you're holding, watch this interview and and how I'm responding viscerally to it. It's just it's
You're
kind of emotional when you think about it. I mean,
it
it's really
is.
powerful. And it's and I love feeling it. Like, I'm because again, trauma girl to trauma girl, I've been doing a lot of the work myself, and I'm okay with the feeling.
Mm,
It's like, "Oh, let's feel it." Oh
yeah,
my gosh, and then I'm gonna start crying, and then I'm gonna start coughing again. Okay,
beautiful.
let's talk about March 21st.
Yeah. March 21st, our next cohort begins, and we're meeting on Saturdays at 12:30 Pacific time. That's the time we landed on that works best for our students in Australia and Austria, where one it's 5:30 a.m. and the other is like 9:30 at night. And we meet for about 2.5 hours. every Saturday. And we go through wonderful, fun, enriching experiences together. And then between our meetings, there are pre-recorded video lectures for you to watch. And yeah, and 1/3 of the cohort, the training is focused on business and supporting you in getting a website.
Tell me more about that. Keep going, because that in our industry, that is a huge thing I come up across.
Yeah.
So 1/3 of it is about business. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. So business has not really been a problem for me. I've been a serial entrepreneur and I've done a lot of businesses. And I realize, especially for healers, that's not their biggest strength. So I make it as easy as possible for you to put yourself out there and be successful doing this work, whether it's in your already established thing or if you're just starting new. So we help you find a website if you want a free one or an inexpensive one, know what to put on your website. We help you get testimonials, right? We help you with emails to send out to introduce people to what you're doing and offer to give them an experience. And to think about expressing your authentic self in your offers, because that is really what people are connecting to when their soul says, yes, work with this person. One of the really cool and wonderful things is that we keep our cohorts small. And so as part of their final, to get their certification, each student guides me.
Oh, yes.
And
that's awesome.
It is so awesome. Of course, they're very nervous, but if they just follow the protocol, of course, it's always a rich experience. And what I've really learned from that is that the energy, the soul of the one guiding you affects what journey you're going to have. Right? Because these are two souls coming together. And so they catalyze and ignite material in you that isn't otherwise as easily catalyzed or ignited on your own or with someone else. So really, truly, it's not about, I do this, this, and this thing, and it's a good thing. It's about, I'm available for you to be guided by, and I have this process that can support and facilitate what we create together. And my role, my responsibility is to be your guide, kind of like a Sherpa. This is your journey, and I'm here to support your success. Whether it's the top of the mountain and you plant a flag, or it's the middle and you turn around and go back, it's your journey. And I know ways to help you make it successful in a way that feels successful and meaningful for you.
That is. Well, you have an opportunity with you have an offer right now, and it's save $250 on this, and there's a code SAVE BIG. And I just want to plant that seed with people that if you're curious at all, definitely I've been running the website and even Gina's private email address. So if you're seeing this and you're curious, please reach out. I oh my gosh, like I have never felt I've done, this is my 162nd show.
Congrats.
And I've never, thank you. I've never had such a connection that I'm coughing.
Oh, Kelly, I feel so honored, honestly.
Yeah, this is lovely. And I'm so glad I was able to I wish we would have been able to spend more time when we were actually in the physical. But I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you for being a part of the Edge magazine and the Being Curious show and sharing your gifts with the world and sharing your wild adventure with everybody. I really want to encourage, whatever your modality is, whatever your training is, I truly believe connecting with Gina and SMGI, get her book, right? I mean, there's something really special about what you're doing. I really feel that it is going to thrive. You're going to help people thrive. Like, really, it's finding your truth and thrive in this. And it's new energy. I mean, and I'm not trying to be all, oh, it's the new era. No, that's not what I'm saying. We don't have to go with the old patterns and the old, like throw them out. You have such a beautiful and powerful way of just this invitation of, come to the sandbox, come hang out with us. And, oh, it's funny. Is there a little rainstorm? Yeah, we'll write it out. We'll just pop it out with our little umbrellas and we'll just write it out. And then, oh, we're going to be able to have little streams in our little sandbox. And it's just, it's embracing it's embracing all of the wild adventures in our world and to get to know ourselves and not being scared of digging in, and we are worthy and our truth is amazing and we don't have to worry. You're just I'm gonna start crying. I just think I'm so
Mm.
blessed. I'm so blessed of our time together today. I can't thank you enough. Like, I really, I don't wanna say I'm proud of you, but I'm proud of you. There we go.
I
I'm
will
proud of what you're
receive that.
doing. Yes,
Thank
receive it.
you.
My little girl is giving your little girl a high five and saying, "Nice job." I just thank you. Thank you for going against the status quo and really going inward and dialing in with your team here, there, and everywhere because it is about love. And it's a frequency of love, and it doesn't have to be fight, fight, flight, freeze. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be juicy and it can be lovely and it can be an adventure and it can be healing all at the same time.
Yeah, Kelly, because the rules are different in the inner world than the outer world. In the
They
inner
are.
world, you can leap from tall buildings and fly, you can breathe underwater, you can get yourself safe no matter what is happening. You have all the power as the sovereign authority that you are of your inner world. And that's where all your power resides to change your outer world.
It's just it's exciting.
It is.
It's exciting. So
Mhm,
so I want to invite people, like, if you've been on a weird adventure or maybe more than one,
mhm.
be curious. Check out what Gina is doing. You're changing the world. You really are.
Hmm.
Not
Yeah,
trying to put something heavy on you in any way,
no,
shape, or form,
no,
but I
that's
really I
what I'm here
see what
for.
you're doing. I'm from
Yeah.
Minneapolis. I'm feeling what you're doing, and I'm like, "This is a new paradigm." These are new tools for so many people to have in their toolbox. And I know that if I saw there was a practitioner that was trained by you, I'd be very curious to come and work with them.
Hmm.
And I meet a lot of people.
Hmm. Oh, thank you, Kelly. You know, it's a slow burn in the beginning, getting things going.
I
But when
know.
I was like 7, I remember a vision. I was laying in the sun and I had a vision before I knew the word exponential. But it's like I saw, like a fist and I saw the fingers going out. And I understood that, I was like the fist, but the fingers going out are the practitioners, right? Because I'm only one person. I
Right.
can't do it alone. I can't. I didn't create this alone. I was guided. I was
Of
sent
course.
on a mission here. I didn't make this up, right? I just brought it forward, and it really, it's the practitioners and their spheres of influence that are going to help each individual change their world, which is changing our greater world, and that happens easier, faster, quicker now than ever before.
They're your ambassadors. Well, they're their own ambassadors,
Yes,
but they're
exactly.
you're a guide to these ambassadors who are just going to, I mean, just by saying wild adventure, just by rephrasing that powerful statement could change so many mindsets,
Hmm.
like so many.
Hmm. I'm glad to hear that from you. Um, and it makes me think of a book title. I never even read the book, I'm sorry to say, but the
Hmm.
title was Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And that really supported me for so many years on my healing journey when I didn't want to feel anything.
Right.
And so even if people never read the book or never have a session or never take the training, just whatever phrase is going to support them on their journey, I'm so grateful for,
Yeah.
because I've benefited from others so much.
Oh my goodness. Well, and now it's time for you to be the pain, the discovery, the recovery, and giving back, and you're giving back just by showing up, and
Mm,
that's just so powerful. Oh
mm,
my gosh, thank you so much for today. You gave me a gift, I'm just gonna tell you, and I apologize for the coughing, but then I don't because it just really showed how connected we are and
mhm.
how connected the work that you're doing and you're bringing into the world that I just, like, embodied very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do people find you? I know I was scrolling it on the screen,
Yeah.
but let's just do a last little
Yeah,
that.
Somatic Mindful Guided Imagery.com. You can find
Beautiful.
me there along with my students that are now practitioners. And if you want to contact me directly, my individual private contact is on there. You know, click on my face and it'll take you to my private website, my individual website. But yeah, Somatic Mindful Guided Imagery.com. And on Instagram, it's Gina or Vance _ Gina. Yeah.
Okay, you guys, the book is out. Life is hard and then you fly. How your 9 instinctive responses can turn pain into purpose through the revolutionary healing power of SMGI. And her next session starts March 21st. And there's just so many opportunities to connect with you. And
the audiobook just came out.
I was going to ask you if you did an audio. Did you voice it or did somebody else voice it?
I did, and I recommend it. It's a totally different experience than the book. And then it's pretty cool how when I'm talking about dark things, the lilt in my voice, will harken back to the sandbox, which I didn't know about until you just reflected it back to me today. So thank you for that, sister.
My absolute pleasure. Well, you guys, this was a great show, and thanks for sticking with us. We did go over an hour, and actually I told you pre-show, I was like,
fast.
Sometimes I can do fast ones, but I felt this was going to be an amazing one. I am so blessed. This is Kelly from the Being Curious Show, Edge Magazine, and Gina Vance, thank you for being on. I appreciate you and everything you're doing in the world.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Something new is unfolding at the Edge. The latest issue of Edge Magazine is here, filled with voices that awaken your heart, expand your mind, and remind you that you're part of something much bigger. Explore conscious living, holistic wellness, energy healing, spirituality, and the art of awakening, all in one inspiring space. Awaken, discover, connect, and be curious. Print editions are now on the streets, and you can also read it online at edgemagazine.net. Welcome to the Edge. We have been waiting for you. You are right where you are supposed to be. Welcome home.